I'm doing a foamectomy on my seats on my Miata. These are '01 seats, and I'm putting them into my 96. So the '01 seats, the surfboards do sit higher than the seats in the NA. I took out my NA seats, put these in stock. You can definitely feel like you're higher. I'm 6'1.5" or so, and I'm hitting the top of the top. So that's uncomfortable. So I'm doing a foamectomy, and that's pretty well documented. So I don't want to go into details on how to take the covering off or how to do the general foamectomy. I'm just going to go into a little detail about what I'm doing that's a little different. I've done foamectomies on seats before, and it was okay. But the foamectomy I did is like the standard one that you see that other people have done, where you take the foam from the bottom of the seat out where it sits in the bowl of the tray, and that's basically this material. What happens is you can see that the bowl doesn't go all the way out to the edges. It ends a little short. So when you sit in the seat, you can actually feel, if all you do is that foamectomy, you can feel your bottom drop into the bowl, and it pinches a little on the sides, and you feel like you're sitting in a bowl. It's not terrible, but it's not super comfortable. Also, you can see here your seats go, your legs go straight up. So I wanted to make it a little bit more stock feeling than that. So what I've done is, in addition to cutting off that bulge with the carving knife, I also put a polycarbide bit on my drill. This is actually a lot of fun. It makes a huge mess, but this cuts through or into the foam and really gives you a lot of control on shaving the foam. So what I did in the bottom is, in addition to just cutting this off, I also shaved down the sides and the leading edge. So it kind of brings the whole foam down into the pan a little better. It's still cut off a lot, so there's still going to be a pretty good sized gap between the bottom of the foam and the bottom of the pan. I will put in some low density foam in that gap, and that should help a little bit in making it a little less of a pinch situation. Between lowering these sides, so it drops in a little further, and the foam that I'll put in the bottom, hopefully I'll have a fairly comfortable seat. The other thing I did here is I took a lot off the top. The distance between the groove and the top surface of the foam stock is almost exactly an inch. I measured. And so I took about 3/4 of an inch off at the back edge, coming up to not anything at the front edge. So it's, removing basically a wedge shape from the foam. I did all of this with the drill, which again is a huge mess, but actually kind of fun. So that should drop me a good 3/4 of an inch. And I also, you can see, kind of pulled the back as well, because you sit basically starting here and forward. And I'm going to fill the gap between the bottom of the seat foam and the pan with some low density foam. So when I sit, it'll compress more, but not all the way. So it won't sit me quite as far down as it would if I didn't do that, left a full foamectomy, but hopefully it'll kind of alleviate some of the pinch. And the other thing I'll do is I'll put a little bit on the top surface of the seat as well, so that the seat cover doesn't look saggy. I bought a couple of, these are 1/2-inch sheets of low density foam. So they call this one medium stiffness and this one low stiffness. And they look the same, but you can actually, if you get real close, you can kind of see the cells on this are bigger. But anyway, this is really soft. It doesn't take much to squish it down to, I don't know, like 30% maybe less. I've got, in addition to these two now, I've got a 1-inch thick and a 2-inch thick of ultra soft foam. So it's really hard to really do justice, but it takes almost no force to compress these a lot. They're even actually softer than the other ones that I've got. So what I've done is I've taken some templates. So I cut out a piece of paper that's the shape of this cushion, or the side of the cushion, this part. So I'll use the 1-inch thick ultra soft stuff, cut these patterns out, try and I've got some spray glue, and I'll glue those on, and then I will try and just smooth these out so it brings this surface back up to the inch. It's about an inch at the front that I didn't shave, and I measured, and it was an inch before, and now it's less than a quarter. And then I also built a pattern for the pan, the bowl of the pan, and I will take probably the 2-inch thick stuff and build up this section just so that it fills in the space. When you sit down, that'll all compress, or compress mostly. So it should be a little bit more comfortable than sitting in the bowl. This little guy, this isn't a plane, but it's a scratchy plane. It's not, one blade. This is going to be your best friend. This is the fine-tuning result of cutting the seat foam, and also it's really the best tool for cutting the soft foam, because the soft foam tends to grab, and the drill with the polycarbide blade in it, it grabs it and cuts into it. So you can really control what's going on with one of these. So pick one of these up. Okay, so these are the 3 pieces of foam. This is the seat pan piece, and I formed it somewhat to fit into the shape of the pan. You can see the cut marks from the cutting tool, and it sits right in the pan. It's super soft, but it's still something. It's still going to mask that sitting in the pan. And then here are the other 2 pieces. So this one is a 1/2 inch thick, started as a 1/2 inch thick. You can see I shaved off some of it, and that will sit here. And this again is the soft stuff. And then this piece is going to sit here, and then that'll get glued in. So it tapers off at the end, so it matches how I shaved down the foam. And it gets up to, excuse me, about an inch. I did try and take a little bit off the whole surface just to bring it down, but this is so soft that it's not going to look puffy when I put the seat back on. I am going to glue it. I have the spray glue just to hold it in place. But if you look at the way the seat's put together, the rings that hold the seat material down to the cushion really goes all the way around this. So the only place this cushion could move is forward if it was going to move, and this one back. It's probably not going to happen, but I'll glue it down just to be sure. And I didn't try this, but it may actually make it easier to shave as well if it's on the seat. I don't know. Again, this stuff is really soft and grabby, so the drill, while it's controllable on the firmer cushion, it's really hard not to just drill all the way through this soft stuff. So you're gonna have to take your time. I'm not going to try it, but I bet you it's still going to be a problem even if it's glued on. So you can see I've got the lower piece in here. It's really very soft. You're not going to be able to pick this up on camera, but there's still plenty of flex in the seat bottom. You can still feel where the pan is, but it's not going to be nearly as pronounced as if that foam wasn't there. One more shot before the seat cover goes back on. I had a little rip in the bolster, so I just put some foam on it and glued it to it, and that should hopefully keep the bolster from separating. But what I wanted to show is how this ended out very even, just like it was when it was stock. And it's about the same height as it was when it was stock, but this is much softer material. So we'll see when I sit in it, but I expect that I'll get my inch plus of extra head room under the car. I'm gonna use zip ties like a standard. There's a wire that runs underneath the creases in the seat that the zip ties or hog rings run through. On this seat, half of that wire is rusted and not there anymore. So what I'm gonna do is I'll buy some steel wire and run it underneath the seat and then run the zip ties through it. So I'll run through the back, and then these two also need new spots. All right, so I've got the cover on. It looks really good. So you can see it's not saggy. It's still quite puffy. I did the zip ties instead of the hog rings. Boy, hog rings are a real pain. I have a hog ring tool, and I did some of them, but the zip ties are way easier. And you can see the soft foam in the bottom here. It's super flexible. So I did try sitting in it. It feels like I sink in pretty good, but no pinching. So I'll put the seat back together and try it out in the car and see how it feels.